Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to more of the Starletter I-League Star Series Season 3 American Qualifier action. We are finally getting back into our infamous versus Team Onyx series after, of course, some more delays. But here we are now getting ready for game number 2. I'm Coddle Guy, going to be joined again remotely by the one and only wonderful Tsunami. Welcome back, my friend. Apologies about the delays, but after some micro updates and some Dota coordinators being up and down and left and right, I think we're going to be ready for game 3, and we're going to be ready for a little bit of more of the same, because first pick is a Lone Druid for Onyx. I'm excited.
Are you though?
No.
I feel like I'm being treated to a vacation in Croatia right now is what I feel like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
It's
not as cold, though,
not as
but,
cold.
but yeah. But here we are in well into the Lone Druid meta, if you will. And if all teams, of course, Onyx are going to definitely play to that meta strength if they can. But Infamous not banning it, man. You know, they don't have first pick. If I'm not mistaken, they actually selected second pick with their coin toss win. You know, they went next level, something like your Swindles and PPD like to do when they win the coin flip, is offer the other team the option or just go like next level with it and take second pick. But they don't ban out the Lone Druid and instead will use their 1-2 pick advantage to get Ogre and Vengeful. I
Now,
mean,
is this confidence or is this
I don't know. I
hubris?
don't know. I mean, or they just put a lot on their supports and they want to make sure they have these supports for whatever reason. But you're just giving Onyx so much. I mean, Lone Druid, Ember Spirit, like you could easily say those were like the two heroes of Dota Pit, and now they have both.
But maybe too much power is a bad thing. Too much of a good thing can turn out because well, actually no, I don't believe that for a second because I don't think that Ogre or Vengeful are nearly strong enough to prioritize. Well, okay, so what's up with these bans though? Like they ban out Shadow Demon and Slardar. Slardar,
Yeah.
okay, that's legitimate.
Hmm.
Shadow Demon, is there really that big of a concern of a Luna Shadow Demon? Because Onyx only got one pick, so really, is the threat of a Shadow Demon greater than the threat of the Lone Druid?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there definitely are more answers in the meta now for a Shadow Demon than there are for a Lone Druid. I mean, yeah, it just could be a confidence thing. Maybe Infamous felt confident that if they got this certain spread of picks, that they'd be able to take it to Onyx and their Lone Druid. But I agree, it's definitely a bit fishy, and it continues to get fishy even in their second wave of bans, as they ban with the Clockwork of all people. I don't know if that's trying to say something like they want to go for a Drow or Sniper kind of a lineup, but taking out Clockwork as well. I mean, it is Bulba you're going against, so maybe they're giving the nod. Bulba Clockwork, you know,
Legendary.
legendary. I mean, if there was a Dota like baseball card, there'd probably be one with like Bulba Clockwork for sure.
Oh,
You
I got
know.
a holographic of that one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But we'll see. Bands on the Onyx side a bit more, you know, fair. Ben Jazz and Kotaro, they played
Yep.
both the Lifestealer and the Shadow Fiend, and for those last couple of skirmishes, they were holding their own. Like you can tell that these guys can recognize the limitations of those heroes, especially Ben Jazz on the Lifestealer, and you know, they're just feeling like they don't want Infamous to kind of go back into those comfort picks again. Plus, there would have been some nice armor play with the Vengeful Spirit and a Shadow Fiend, so. Maybe we'll get the Kotaro Storm Spirit this time. Who knows? Probably not because they usually have it with like a Life Stealer, but I don't know. It's Kotaro at the end of the day. They'll do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, and against Lone Druid, I'm not really sure how Storm Spirit stacks up either, because it's very single target damage heavy, but it's also single target lockdown heavy. So even if Storm manages to go in and like he'd have to like Orchid the bear and then Vortex the Lone Druid to make sure that
That's
Druid can't
yeah,
just recall and then roar, and that's a tall order.
yeah. That just sounds bad. Plus the matchup that he'll have against Ember is probably not going to be that great. This is not looking so good. You know what happened? Whatever happened to like Huskar games? You know, Infamous were known. Kotaro in particular for a lot of Huskar
True.
games. He just fell off. He's gone now. I mean, I honestly don't see him matching up so well to like the likes of because we went through the Shadow Demon era, and Huskar wasn't gonna fare too well with the Shadow Demon Lua era. We're kind of past that a little bit now, but I actually still wouldn't see Huskar doing so well against the Lone Druid. So I guess it's just a hero that's gonna be retired for a while.
It never really was just Huskar, though. He
That's
always
true.
had a companion. He was like
Yeah.
the Dazzle or the Io. I've never seen that hero solo be able to break into the meta,
That's
and
true. Yeah.
it's heartbreaking, I'm sure. But he had its time in the sun, and I don't. I think Infamous does need more off the wall picks because Onyx is playing to their strengths. This is their comfort zone, and Infamous are picking meta heroes,
Yeah.
but this isn't the plan against the Lone Druid cracking the meta wide open.
Yeah. I mean, they're just picking what I don't know if they're just picking what they've seen other teams pick and they make it work. But Infamous is a team that will pull out those funky picks that do play to their strengths. So I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe with these last two picks they might be able to scrap something together here a bit. Not going to
So we
look
go.
so easy, though. Onyx have already grabbed their Dubu Earth Spirit. I mean, Dubu now being one of their fresh import players here on this team. I'm sure getting the likes of him because he's a really good Earth Spirit player. He's a specialist, and having someone like that on your team certainly just adds a lot of strength because it doesn't seem like Infamous find it as much of a threat to even ban it out. And they're going to feel comfortable enough moving into the Queen of Pain, which is a good response because you need a mid laner now that's not going to be too threatened from the Earth Spirit. She'll be able to at least blink away from trouble. And yeah, I know Earth Spirit typically has a silence, but you're not going to be leveling up that silence till like level 4. So there is plenty of time for Queen of Pain to avoid the trouble. Question is, can we finally see the Tri-Spirit lineup here? I want to see a Storm, Earth, and
Oh
Ember all on the
man.
same team. That would be just so cool.
And then we unlock the ARG for the fourth spirit, which is what the Mad Moon thing is all about, or the
Yeah,
Dark Moon thing is all about.
the Death Dark Spirit comes out.
That's the one.
Yeah. well, obviously, likely not, since they already have their course set up. But hey, at least maybe. What about a Demon Spirit Breaker? That'd be fun.
Which worked well. As long as it's not Warlock. Man, Jimmy was so hyped up on Warlock during, I don't remember which qualifier it was, but I think it was Boston Major qualifiers actually.
Yeah.
Picked Warlock like 10 games straight.
Oh,
Coddle on the other hand.
The best hero in the game shows up now, and it's interesting because while I obviously I like Coddle, he's cool. He typically comes with like the worst thing ever, which is Naga and Naga games, but not the case here. So it does naturally feel like this Coddle is just kind of out of position. Like you're not known because Coddle, he's an Uber. He's a taxi driver. Is really like what he's been used for most of the time. He supplies the mana to some people, but then he gets the cores around the map safely and allows them to really farm and bulk up. What do you think his purpose is going to be here in this game?
He's going to be a leak machine.
Oh,
Much
yeah?
as how we see Ogre Magi be the Bloodlust machine, I think that Coddle's purpose, because there is no real, like, so you'll see Keeper be picked for the transportation, as you mentioned, or you'll see him be picked for anti-push, which is also one of his strong suits, but there is no real push on Infamous. In fact,
Yeah.
this is one of the worst push lineups I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So really, and okay, I guess the other role is being a mana battery, but like Lone Druid doesn't really need it. Ember Spirit kind of needs it, but
Yeah.
not really. I guess like the cooldown reduction on chains can be cute, but again, not entirely necessary. But you throw some mana burn with a Nyx Assassin, you throw some mana leak with a Keeper of the Light, you will be making Queen of Pain very, very sad.
It's just funny because if you just like needed a support to like hand out mana, like most teams would be going for like Crystal Maidens now. And then you just have the call for like maybe some of the other benefits. But here, yeah, no, it's not like you need a deep push. It's not like you need the taxi service. I mean, if you're just there for the mana, then I guess so be it. But we'll have to see how things pan out on that front. Blinding Light, I guess, is always a nice, valuable tool to have, but I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see here. Next is going to be the last pick for Onyx now, which, as we know, is a wonderful counter to the likes of like a Bat Rider, having the easy Carapace stun, because they didn't have a good way to stop the Bat Rider. That's the other thing, is that they could have, instead of getting Keeper, gotten like anyone else to help bail out from a Bat Rider lasso, but they save that pick, they get their Nyx, and Infamous will round out their lineup here with a Lion. It's a core Vengeful Spirit. Okay.
I don't really know about this, because Core Venge does not fare very well against Lone Druid, because she has garbage attack range, and I guess you can swap, but as many people tend to forget whenever they're drafting against ranged Lone Druid, you still need to worry about a bear. Even though it's not a damage-dealing bear, it's a very irritating, rooting, and roaring bear. So I don't really know how Vengeful is going to be able to get the hop on Lone Druid. I really like the Queen of Pain pick, because Queen of Pain, especially if she goes the new blade mail thing, which we've been seeing all over the place, pretty good against Lone Druid because the hero is very squishy, and Queen of Pain can dish out a lot of burst damage, and Lone Druid has to kill the Queen of Pain, but if you have to kill her through a blade mail, it's a tall order, so I like that pick. And I feel that Infamous got railroaded into having to draft Corvenge because Onyx banned out Juggernaut and they banned out Lifestealer, which are both really good against having to deal with constant mana leaking. The rest of the carries that are, I guess, meta these days are not too good against mana leak. And I mean, I guess VS doesn't really need her mana, but still, like, you did not want to have to pick a core VS, I think.
Dubu moving in deep as we get this game underway. I thought he was going to go for that new hip trendy ward spot up on the high ground there, but we'll keep it near the shrine for now. But a smoked Infamous squad will be able to continue to hide in the dark and not really reveal any sort of early game movement for now. But here we go into game number 2 now of Onyx versus Infamous. Onyx, of course, taking that game 1 win after a pretty lengthy matchup. Have scored their 1 point here, but for both these teams, they're kind of running through the middle area of this group stage, and if they want a chance to kind of break into the top and move into the playoffs, they will need to scrap together every win they can. And here Infamous already confident, rolling in deep. We're going to be crossing paths with Mason and company here, but neither of them really have any sort of additional firepower to kind of go for any first blood play. Do you think we're going to have Stinger just kind of hang around Valkyria for a little bit just to give him, you know, a head start, or is he looking to take his business like directly towards the mid lane or elsewhere?
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bat Rider decides to go jungle or something like that, or alternate between the two, because Ogre doesn't really have to be too afraid of a Lone Druid, especially if it's going to be a primary range Lone Druid, because if Stinger gets like a Stout Shield, Ogre can just live through all of that harass. So Bat Rider in game 1 was not able to get very much, and it was a very slow Blink Dagger, and that definitely impacted how much control Infamous had over the game. So hopefully Valkyria is given a little bit more farm priority.
Mid lane, DB looking to go for the initial hit, and he actually just barely misses the rolling boulder. And it's a shame because had that connected, that may have been your first blood. Queen of Pain, of course, not leveling up the level 1 blink, but just catching off the mark on that boulder smash. Top lane, mild stun and harassment, it looks like, onto Bulba. But, you know, Dubu knows more than most. You want to be able to kind of make some connections happen on those early Earth Spirit roams if you want to get the most out of the hero.
Yeah, he's still prowling in the mid lane, not deterred by the first failed attempt. And Flea is level 2 now. So Searing Chains and Sleight of Fist. Oh, actually, he did go for Sleight of Fist. So.
But Kataro not level 2 yet. So he doesn't have the blink. Here comes the roar, and that's going to be good enough. One more creep goes down. He would have been level 2, and he would have had blinked, and that could have been different. But Dubu hangs around as mentioned, and will be able to at least make do on that first blood. And it's going to go the way of Onyx here. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, well, now level 2 has been hit for Queen of Pain, but too little too late.
And now Dubu could just head to the other lane and just make an impression there. I mean, it's Vengeful Spirit after all. You know, she's got to be in lane and got to be farming, because what else is she going to do? She's not like a big jungle farmer, really. You know, we don't expect her to really roam and gank too much too soon. So expect Dubu to keep tabs on her. Not before he's going to be able to try to get a grab on that bounty room. That ward being there just totally threw me off. I'm like, what kind of rune is that? But they're just spotting it out. Aha! And they've been spotted here. Lion's like, get the hell away from it. Can he grab it? He did.
Oh.
He's like, all worth it now, baby. All worth it.
There are 5 stacks, 6 stacks on top of this bear. Oh, but leveling up the bear purges it. Okay. Yo, Mason does know his way around this hero.
Okay, all right. Very nice. I love the matchup, too. He's with Demon's Keeper. I mean, Demon has been playing Keeper Light as a support for a long, long time. In fact, he comes up with some of the best and unique ways to play the laning, like support Keeper. I see them more often play it in more of an aggressive setup. He loves to hide in the trees and surprise blast people from like a flanking position. But he really can recognize the potential of how much farm you can get with this hero. I noticed like little things like when the patch first rolled out, he quickly recognized, you know, those new ancient creeps, I can't remember what they're called, like prowlers, right? The ones that root.
Yeah.
They don't have like good magic resistance. In fact, they don't have any. So Coddle can farm those like at level 2 or level 3. And then suddenly he's just got all this ridiculous amount of greed. Mid lane swing and a miss on the rolling boulder as Dubu's still making his impression onto Kotaro. They do have the Lion now hanging around as a babysitter just in case. You know, they value that Kataro's going to need the extra assistance here. Looks like they've been able to spot out a ward, and they'll give him the 100 gold for that one, which will help out a bit. But Dubu goes right back on the move, and where Lion is not at this top lane, he's looking to get up there and make some action happen. But he's been spotted.
They have an impale on Nyx Assassin, but you need to move very fast. Even though it is a Vengeful Spirit, she's very tanky whenever she builds core, and actually is going to go aggressive.
Look at this. They found Dubu. They saw him coming over with the ward, so Benjaz wanted to cut him off with the Lion here, but it looks like Dubu will be able to make it away from trouble with a rolling boulder and steps away. But it was a good read by Infamous. They tried to capitalize on it, but not going to be so successful.
I see the reason Flea went for this Sleight of Fist so early is because he's trying to disjoint the dagger. He hasn't really had the best success with it, and I'm not surprised. That's difficult to pull off, especially with the constant animation canceling like that.
Yeah, but he's an 8K player. Oh, and now he has the help of Dubu. And this might not be enough. Obviously, you know, Kotaro patient, not even looking to use the blink too fast. But as I mentioned, you know, Earth Spirit's not going to get silenced right away. Usually not till level 4. You'd love to get that extra little bit of burst on the Boulder Smash at level 3. And then at level 4, you might have enough lockdown to pull off a gank like that. So Dubu still needs a little bit of time in XP before he can make moves like that.
Yeah, now as you suspected, Stinger on Ogre has come on down to the mid lane, but hasn't really been able to find much. And they're kind of leaving Valkyria alone to fend for himself. Actually went for phase boots on the Batrider.
All right, well, he heads back for now. I'm curious to see if he just comes back to the bottom lane or somehow looking to implore that into the jungle and build up his farm from there. But you're leaving Mason up to his own devices in the bottom lane. Dubu, mid lane. Stinger shows up from behind and, you know, lets him know, don't think about ganking my Queen of Pain here. I'm keeping in touch. Both him and even the Lion are both coming over this mid lane. So they're totally just like abandoning their side lanes and just putting full attention onto where Onyx are hanging around.
Yeah, but Onyx is totally okay with this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no way a Vengeful Spirit can hold a candle to a Lone Druid in the late game, and they're leaving Lone Druid alone, but they're also letting Demon do whatever he wants in this bot lane. He doesn't really need to babysit the Lone Druid, even if he is there to zone the Batrider out every once in a while. Like you said, Demon's just farming up jungle camps, and a quick ag is going to make life very difficult for Infamous, because that means that Batrider's not going to be able to gank very easily, and Lion, if he manages to bumble his way into a Blink Dagger, that's not going to happen either.
I could definitely see this Coddle playing this more greedy and suddenly showing up with that like 20-minute Agdam Scepter. We'll see, though. Not as fortunate with the Ancient Camp, but he's making his own shift here up through the mid lane. A lot of attention towards where the rune is, but Kotaro's going to have to double back out. But back into the grind we go as the off-laners are matching up with the safe laners as they continue to farm here, with where it feels like Bulba is kind of getting the better end of this. Though your big breadwinner is still going to be Benjaz here. I mean, yeah, Venge is great. He has a core mid lane. Oh, there's the movement in. And he is not going to be able to blink away from this one. Beautiful setup and assistance coming in from Dubu. And, of course, with Flea dealing out the bulk of the damage, they'll be able to bring down Mr. Kotaro Hayama, and they're not letting up yet. They popped the smoke, and they're going to take this movement all the way to the top lane and try to shut down or at least put Super Benjaz in his spot right now. They know he's going for the pull, but he is got the game sense here. Chains? Too late. But he's shoved away from the lane now, and he's got to go bottom now to find the farm. And they're just going to push down bottom, it looks like.
Yeah, it's fortuitous timing that the rest of Infamous is grouped up, and I don't really... Okay, so I would prefer Onyx to defend this, and I'm glad that the Coddle is coming, because this is Coddle's job. Valkyria does spot Demon, but there's not really much he can do. He did actually level Blasto at 6, so he's going to go for it.
All right, there is the pullback lasso, the follow-up stun combo, and Coddle's good at defending pushes, but he can't handle like when 3 heroes get up in his grill. So he goes down fast, and that is going to allow Infamous to put further damage onto that bottom tier 1. Onyx are splitting the difference, however. Mason has kind of resided in the mid lane, finding farm there, and the rest of Onyx are taking it to the tier 1 top, and it looks like they should be able to bring it down momentarily here. This boosts up Bulba quite a lot. I mean, he's already level 6. We got Vendetta to work with now, and he will even get some extra pocket change to go with it. Stinger not denying the tower. Uh-oh. Well, here comes Onyx. They want that tower, though. They will jump the Ogre, chain him down, and slash him up. Rotations will continue to come in though, but looks like Onyx are here to go for the tower. Jump in, Carapace stun. Does get the connection with the Sonic Wave to go for the finish onto Flea, but it looks like Qatar will pay the price for it. After he blinks in, he's going to get silenced, he's going to get hit, and he'll get finished off. I don't know, do you think it was worth it to jump in to take down Flea for Kataro handing over his own life?
I mean, not 1v1. I wish that maybe the Queen of Pain had held off a little bit, but Ember was leaving. You need to pull the trigger immediately, and since Ogre had just TP'd, then Queen of Pain TP'd, and then Lion TP'd, the TP delay is significant, which means that this next rotation is going to take a long time. Lion's going to die first. They get the deny.
A little bit of a confrontation down them below. They will be able to get last hit. As mentioned, his Lion will go down, and Dubu also going to get dropped, trying to TP, but getting scorched up from the fire. As Chaos continues to break out here in the top lane. Good thing going for Infamous was the continued push they had gotten from Benjaz there in the bottom lane, so he got some good farm. He now has his helm with the Dominator, of course, and gets right back into the jungle after they claim that tier 1, but still, Onyx kind of getting the better end of these trades, the better end of the farm. I'm curious to see what their next move will be here. I mean, Mason is in full-fledged farm mode while the rest of his team can start putting to work Bulba's Vendetta, and that's what they do. They spot out Stinger, they look to bring him apart. A jump in comes out from Kataro. He gets hit from that Boulder Smash Sun, and now after blinking in, he has no way to make it out from trouble. So he is going to be set to go down here unless he can find a blink opportunity in 3 seconds. There's the silence, and they're not going to get him. He's able to make it out. Good assistance does come in, and he walks away from trouble.
I guess Demon is going ultra greedy on this Coddle because 0 points in Mana Leak even now. Like, if they had gotten a Mana Leak off, which the range isn't great at level 1, so maybe Demon wouldn't be able to get in range of Queen of Pain, but if he had gotten a Leak, that was a dead Queen of Pain for sure. But, you know, Onyx can afford to play this conservatively because, like, they have the anti-push with Coddle and then they have the push with the Lone Druid, so they can come online whenever they feel like, because there's no way that Infamous can really dig Onyx in deep enough of a hole that they can't recover.
This is a very greedy bit up here on the Coddle. I mean, even if he had his ultimate, maybe a Blinding Light bump back or something would have been good enough, but you know, he's putting a lot more favor into ramping up the blast and having the mana for said blast. So we'll see how much it's going to reward him here. As far as farm goes, he will claim the mid lane. And Bulba's going right back towards the top lane here. I was suspecting they're going to try to maybe put that Vendetta to use every time it's off cooldown here, but maybe hoping to kind of get him a Midas first, it looks like.
Yeah, putting Vendetta at use means that they'll want to actually do stuff right now, and they don't want to do stuff now. They just want to build gold.
Yeah. Definitely playing it a lot more greedy. I mean, the only one who doesn't benefit on their team from taking things more greedy, though, is just going to be Dubu. But Tome can help him at least maybe get to his level 6 if available. But without Magnetize, it also is going to make it a little bit harder for them to be able to take a team fight here. Infamous trying to make a fight happen, man. Near the mid lane, smoked up, advancing forward. This is like the debut of their Batrider Blink Dagger, and they're having a hard time finding a target.
Yeah, I don't really know why Benjaz on this Vengeful Spirit was leading the charge, because I thought that if Batrider didn't have a blink, then okay, you can swap to initiate, but if Batrider has blink, then there's no reason for what is effectively your one position to be leading a smoke gank.
Well, Infamous are trying to make the most of the situation, pushing this mid lane, but this is where Coddle makes it a lot tougher. Blasting down the wave as it approaches forward. There's going to be the jump in lasso pullback. It's going to be on the Flea. A grab onto the Ember Spirit with the help of the finger. Plenty of burst. And a successful gank for Infamous. Now they're targeting the bear, which looks to be another 300 gold picked up. Bit awkward here for Onyx as they still try to hold this tier 1. Now Bulba's here. But his Vendetta just gets canceled. A swing and a miss on the stun as well.
Illuminate
helps fend them off a bit, but not super threatening here. Not yet, at least from Onyx. Not deterring Infamous one bit.
The wraparound.
Jump in, wrap play. Big Sonic Wave connection. Dubu's in trouble. Dubu and Demon both going to be taken apart right now. Bulba looking to respond, gets the stun onto the Batrider, but they still don't have enough damage to offer right now to really be a big threat. Infamous still winning the better of the trades and able to tie things up now 6-6.
They're getting kills, but let's see if they can take this tower, because there is still a lot of ways that
they're pushing.
Install this out.
The pushing is just still so bad.
It's so bad.
It's just trying to right-click this tower, and after all this, it's only half dead. It's just very unfortunate right now. Their only good tower pusher is just Benjaz, like if he has right click.
Yeah, and it's only Benjaz if he's bloodlusted also,
Yep.
because right now, I mean, he's sticking on strength treads because he has to get close. He doesn't have anything like a Dragonlance to siege from afar, and I'm sure he would love to swap, but that's not his role this game.
Oh man, fight potential here for Onyx. Vendetta's already up. Dubu's got stones and has Magnetize to work with now. Demon goes into his spirit form and now starts dishing out the blasts. Onyx looking to 180. All the effort Infamous were bringing down into this mid lane, but after waiting around a bit, it looks like Mason's going to take his business elsewhere because, you know, just like we saw in the last game, he's got to be the late game. He's got to be the insurance policy, so he will farm up and get back into work here in the top lane. And we'll see if Infamous looks to go for round 2. Another Blink Lasso. Oh, Demon moves forward for the blast, and now will get hog tied up, kidnapped. Pull right back into Infamous's team, and taken down. Benjaz is going to be able to pick up the last hit on that, and this should help them get the finish for the Tier 1. We'll see, though.
You say
Dubu.
that.
Yeah, Dubu's hanging around in the rafters and
He's
jumping from
magnetized.
Flea on the back line. They're going to be moving in. Big
Fail.
3-man connection, and 3-man connection with the silence and the magnetize. Beautiful team fight setup here from Onyx. Quickly earns them the takedown of 2. And now they'll be the team moving on forward. They've already done much more damage on this Tier 1 than Infamous have been capable of doing. Stinger's going to try to help out by beating the Bloodlust up on the tower, but looks like that'll be the end of it.
There's so much pomp and circumstance going on in this mid lane, and ultimately so little structural damage is
Yeah.
being done.
They take fights and then can't really do much after that.
I mean, Infamous would love to do stuff. They keep getting off like one portion of the anti-push, I guess, armory that Onyx has right now. They'll kill off the Keeper, but then you still have to worry about Earth Spirit and Ember, and then they'll kill off the Ember, but then Nyx Assassin's going to Vendetta behind you, and so like they need to take a full 5-on-5 team fight, but there's no way Onyx is going to give that to them. Even with this Blink Dagger, Batrider has not been able to find anything yet.
I'm curious to see when is going to be the serious like ramp up time here for Infamous. We know a core Venge lineup is typically a lineup that kind of has a clock on it, similar to Widrow Ranger. You know, she's only going to be peaking for so long before she kind of gets out-muscled by a lot of the other traditional cores here. Ooh, swinging a miss from Bulba, not able to get the stun. So Benjaz sidesteps it, throws the wave back onto them, and now they'll be the team to make chase. Blinking in, and now a grab of the lasso. It's going to be onto Dubu here. Should lead to an easy kill. It is going to be the support sacrifice there from Onyx after they were the team initially getting the heads-up jump onto Benjaz. It's a lost opportunity for them, and it will cost them a support.
They're venturing towards another tower, and now I see Keeper TPing in, so we'll see how much damage they can do on this one. At least now they have some aggressive vision. Actually, Coddle places a ward, but does not want to go for the counter ward yet.
No. Needs to get these blasts down already. While this happens, they do have Mason pushing the mid lane quite hard. Valkyria will show up now. Nearby is going to be the Ogre. I don't know between the two of them if they're going to have enough firepower to do it. They may. A recall's coming in, but he gets quickly bumped and canceled. So that's it. He gets trapped. Benjaz shows up now with the right clicks. They're going to wait for him to get the final hit in, and that's going to do it.
I don't really know if Mason didn't have a TP or it just got canceled, but a lasso-less Batrider should not be able to get an initiating kill off of a lone druid like that, but they get the kill, and they might lose line in the top lane as a result, but I guess you'll take that trade any day of the week if you're Team Infamous.
Yeah, poor little Lion just, I don't know, pushing out the lane by himself, maybe hoping to get a bit of soul time to farm up. Whatever the case may be, they'll take the free grab. Mid lane, doesn't stop yet. Dubu moves in, gets connection onto Benjaz with the Magnetize, and he's got at least one more stone to refresh it. Could Boulder Smash kick it out, but he opts to get it refreshed onto Stinger. And they'll make the chase for the fat little Ogre here. Long Boulder Smash will refresh the Magnetize even further. But Mike, he is so fat.
Oh, now there is.
They'll try to flame break him back, but eventually they'll bring down that Ogre. Onyx will take the win for what they got. And then that will be the end of it.
See, the other problem with this core Venge lineup is it's okay sometimes as Venge doesn't get an amazing start because Vengeance Aura is still a really good aura with most teams. This team, like, I can't quite possibly think of a worse Vengeance Aura lineup because no one is right-clicking, except for maybe the Queen of Pain, but even that's a bit of a stretch. Like, what is she even going for? She's going for a Lincoln, so even until Killer Queen gets an Ag, this Queen of Pain isn't really dealing physical damage, and it's just this max Vengeance Aura on Vengeful Spirit doing all the right-click herself.
What have we here?
Well, they got to find a way to try to be able to make it work. So Infamous, smoke up, and they're going to be looking for an opening here. Because as they know, playing with that clock, it's time to even start taking some structures here as Tier 1 still stands in the mid lane. And they're making the full advancement. Just rotating in is going to be Bulba. He goes right into Vendetta.
Oh, they're going for Mason.
But they want to come back for Mason here. There's a recall coming in for a setup on the mid lane, but it's top where the trouble is. Valkyria blinks in. Mason summons the bear. Uses the roar. He's trying to keep the bat back, but it's Benjaz he should worry about. There's going to be the swap pullback in with the stun setup. Dubu tries to come in to help out, but he's not going to have a whole lot to offer. In fact, now he'll be the one tied up and pulled all the way back in and taken apart. At that same moment, Kotaro goes down, it looks like, in the mid lane, and they were trying to make chase as well for the Lion here. But it will be a 1-for-2 trade from both sides.
Mason's being very shy out of TPing into these ganks, and I mean, most of the time you can outrun. Oh, nice, with a nice impale. They might be able to actually get something with this. Flea does not have very much mana though.
Ooh, he comes in, eats a lot of damage, and then Bulba is moving in to pull the focus, but he pulls himself into trouble. Flea looks to step back in to help out, but a lot of the damage had already been done. And then another takedown. Mid lane at that same moment, it was Demon getting dropped from the bat. Back at top lane, there's going to be the swap back looking to go for Flea. He gets out the slight, looks to Remnant away from trouble, and will be fine. Relentless action, man, from across the board. It's still seeming like Infamous got the last couple of trades going their way. Benjaz still sitting at the top. But, you know, a couple of opportunities where Mason had been kind of taken advantage of and taken down has brought him down a couple of spots.
Thankfully, there's still plenty of stuff to rely on for Team Onyx. Like, Flea is doing pretty well. He's got his BOTs completed. He's going for a Blink Dagger next on this Ember Spirit, which means that his Queen of Pain, even though she'll have a Linken's completed, is going to have to deal with the root of Searing Chains. And if that one piece of initiation happens, then Silence on Earth Spirit will come soon after, and then, God forbid, you get rooted by the bear as well.
Dubu long roll in here down bottom. We'll spot out Kotaro, and he misses the grip.
Oh.
But Flea jumps in, gets the chains, and the Boulder Smash will be there. Connect on top of it. Even commits the Magnetize just to ensure it, and they will take the Queen of Pain pickoff. Nice setup from Flea.
Yeah, this has me kind of questioning why Linken's Sphere is the item of choice for this Queen of Pain, because really, I guess the only thing worth blocking is the Mana Leak, which only now has Demon leveled.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I mean, I guess Mana Burn from Nyx, but not really.
Well, whatever the case may be, they're not looking to wait for him to come and use it, because here comes Infamous, already smoked up, and they spotted Dubu, but he gets a 3-man stun and rolls away. Oh, he didn't put a stone down for the roll. He didn't have a stone to use for the roll, so he can't make it quite far. Doesn't matter, though. It looks like it's going to be enough space here. But Infamous have found a new target. They're charging all the way in. They spotted Mason. They're going to be able to catch him with the lasso, but Bulba's going to be there with the Carapace stun, locking the Batrider in place very nicely. Dubu will still be a victim, as we see there on the low ground, but they will get the finish on the Valkyria. How dare you chase me? So Mason's going to be able to get the finish onto that one. Demon now, blinding light, keeping everyone else back into bay here, as Onyx will firmly hold the defense and keep Mason alive.
Will they finally get this Tier 1? No, of course not. Instead, they might almost lose this hooded Ogre Magi. No stuns.
He's gone. Back inside the base, but Tier 1 still stands here. Onyx not looking to hand it over so easy, as Demon is going to get closer. He's only going to be 1,000 gold away from finishing out the Ags.
So let's see. Vengeful Spirit's going for a BKB now, which I can somewhat... she definitely needs spell immunity to deal with the...
Oh man, they cross paths with Kotaro, and they just get the insta chains and insta lockdown. They just rolled right through where he was farming, and they paid the price. This is now Onyx territory, as everyone from Infamous just quickly scurries to make it out from the jungle here. Here comes the total map control from them. They're going to drop some wards and prevent Infamous from finding safe places to farm. It's time to move in for Tier 2s, and starting to look like we're getting in that same territory we saw in the last game.
before this mid lane is defended for the 10th time.
Yeah, right?
I would be so... this is depressing. Unless you get a kill on Ember Spirit, that would be nice.
Okay, they might. They try everything they can. They commit the finger, and now the lasso isn't good enough. Gets blinded in Remnants, it splits, and he's just suddenly gone like a magician. And now it's going to be Infamous settling for the scraps that are left. The first target's going to be Bulba, but Flea's back now. And they jump in. Beautiful chains and a magnetize rolls forward from Dubu. Beautiful connection should lead to the end here of the Batrider. It is going to be Dubu going down first. Flea jumps in, gets off the chains. Remnant, double kill for him as he slashes right through the Lion and from the Ogre. On the other side, Kataro wants to make an advancement here, but now he's hit with a mana leak, and he's going to get mana leaked again. Now has nothing to work with, rooted down, going to be taken apart, up by the Shrine. It is Benjaz, one of the last survivors here. After Valkyria is going to get dropped, a triple kill for Flea. Can we get the Ultra? No, we can't because Mason wants a double, but it's a 5-man wipe on the side of Infamous. A hell of a fight there for Onyx. All started where Infamous felt like they were going to be able to get the burst and the finish onto Flea. They were so close, but couldn't quite get it done. Onyx just kind of totally capitalized from that point forward.
That was beautifully played by Flea. The fact that he was able to get out of the gank at all was a miracle, but he managed to do it because Bulba hit a perfect 2-man impale to make sure there was just barely not enough right-click damage after all the crowd control spells were used onto Flea. He evacuated, immediately started bottling up, and then used his BOTs to come back to the tier mid 1 and just did work on the backlines of Infamous. And Queen of Pain was trying to get some damage done. Got a aggressive Sonic Wave, but it wasn't what the Sonic Wave that Infamous needed, because they really needed to kill the Ember Spirit. All Killer Queen was able to do was finish off the Earth Spirit, and that's not the spirit of choice.
Not at all. Gotta scratch your head here and see what Infamous gotta do. Aside from finally trying to take that tier 1 mid, I mean, what's the game plan at this point?
Tier 1 mid is no longer the game plan.
They're like,
nothing,
but
nothing
for
but sadness
but for dignity, we're gonna get that tier 1, so that there's still a sense of respect. Yeah. But now we have an Agnum's complete on Demon's Coddle, and that just brings them to just a whole new form. The taxi service now totally available. Free will to be able to get off these blasts. It's daytime, so these are going to be healing blasts. And they already made their move for Benjaz. He's able to get the BKB off just in time and puts his full focus onto Dubu. Dubu trying to hide within the corner, but the real problem is going to be behind him, as it's going to be Flea quickly taking out the backliner. Batrider up and above. A swap from Benjaz to pull back to the low ground. Gets Dubu back in trouble, but now Benjaz stuck between pressure of Flea and company. He's going to get taken apart. From the high ground comes the Sonic Wave. Katara will blink in thereafter, but then he gets dropped. It's Flea with a triple kill. Your Ember seriously on the up and up already at this point in the game, and he's beginning to stylize all over the place. Another 5-man wipe will come out for Onyx. This game feeling a lot more decisive than the previous one as they move down this mid lane and will take tier 2s rather, and then make a move for the tier 3 and Rax. What is Flea doing?
I don't know, but the first game also looked pretty decisive, and then Flea was pulling some plays like that on his Weaver.
Well, it's nice. You have the Coddle. They'll just recall him right back after getting full life and mana. And they'll begin to go to work inside the base here. Batrider nearby will get chained down. Don't even bother making an approach here to Onyx. They're here for the Rax. But they'll try everything they can. Poor little Lion jumps in and just gets assaulted, man. Flea, beyond godlike on his Ember Spirit. This is your stand-in, by the way, as Onyx still waiting for Abed to make the trip into America. But I gotta say, Flea holding his own as the substitute.
Most definitely. Though, if I had to... Oh, is Flea gonna go for more?
Of course he is.
There we go.
Hi, how you doing there? Goes right in. The Lincolns is going to get reflected, and Stinger is going to be set to go down potentially. Benjaz wants to square up. Moves in with the BKB, right-clicks down, is able to get Bulba, but now the real hard hitters are showing up. Mason thinks he can go to toe with them, and with the help of Flea, he certainly can. And that's going to be the game. It's Onyx who will take both of them and take the 2 points.
I'm going to call this one a draft victory. Infamous
yeah?
got railroaded into having to pick a core Venge, which I think they still had options. They still could have picked a more legitimate one position that, like, Demon Coddle wasn't even really an issue that game. Like, during the laning phase, I guess it was causing some problems for Batrider, and obviously the many tier 1 sieges mid failed repeatedly because of the Keeper of the Light, but there are better cores to pick when you have like a Queen of Pain mid and then a whole bunch of supports that are supposed to enhance a core
Yeah.
but not become the core.
Well, Infamous came, they did what they could, but not even able to take that mid-tier 1, man. I hate to rag them even further, but, they couldn't even get that win going for themselves. Strong showing from Onyx. I mean, they really took it to Infamous for both games, but for a team like Onyx and a team that you yourself were calling as, the up-and-coming team or one of these teams that you should look out for who are trying to break into being that tier 1 or tier 1.5, do you think that was as convincing of a performance as you would have liked to have seen from them? I mean, when any other like DC or MP probably take it to a team like Infamous, they'll probably win pretty heavy-handedly. Do you think Onyx kind of showed that here?
I'm not convinced yet.
Okay.
I have confidence in the fact that they really know how to play around a lone druid.
Mhm.
That much I will definitely give them. But outside of that, I think Infamous definitely had some drafting issues. And if they were able to maybe equip themselves a little bit better or unequip Onyx, then it would have been a different game. So until Onyx faces a real tier 1, I'm holding my breath.
Fair enough. All right, that's going to conclude things for our second series of the day. But as you can see, we still have one more series to go to round out our day. It's going to be Doo-Wop versus Dialcom, or whatever Dialcom is going to be. It's an interesting story that we'll fill you more in about when that series is coming. I'm Kyle Guy. That's Tsunami. We'll see you after a hopefully short break to get into our final best of 2 series, Doo-Wop versus Dialcom. We'll see you then.